Hello, welcome to this video on how to use Final Cut Pro. So, for the purposes of this video, I have already kind of set up my Final Cut Pro. Just the file does take a long time to open because it is quite a large program, okay? So once you do have it open up, you're going to go up to File, and you're going to go to New, and you're going to go to Library. This will keep everything together for you when you do start to import all your stuff. So when you have your library set up, you're going to call it whatever you need to call it. I've called mine Demo, so which is this one over here. It'll look something like this, okay? And then after that, then you're going to go down to File and New Project, okay? Or Command N, whichever you prefer. So for the purpose of this video, I'm going to call it Demo as well. Now, so I've got my sequence here. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start to import my footage. So there's a couple of different ways you can do that. You can either use this downward arrow over here. You can go up to File and Import and Media. Or you can just drag and drop it straight into Final Cut Pro. So for purposes, I'm just going to show you the long way around. Click my downward arrow. They're going to go into the same menu anyway when you go into File. Scroll down till you get to your users. I've got mine here called Alan Gorman, so open that up and you're going to scroll straight down to your desktop again here, so I have that open up ready to go, and you're going to keep scrolling until you find the videos that you want to use. So what you're going to do then is you're going to highlight all the videos that you want, so you can either click them one by one or you can press shift and use your arrow keys to highlight them as you go. So then you're going to go over to import and select. Now when it does that, it's going to import all the videos over. It does take a bit of time depending on how many files you have and how large they are. Copies to library, leave that as is, so that way the originals are going to be left alone and nothing's going to happen to your originals, and just hit import selected. Now as you can see here, they open straight up into it and all my files are there. So you can just click a clip and that'll give you a chance to play it back. You can just press the space bar, or you can use the arrows keys over here and you can see how long a clip actually is before you drag it down onto your timeline. Okay. Now, so just for example, now I'm going to drag this straight down onto my timeline just so we have some footage ready to go. Now this menu will pop up when you first bring in your footage. You do not have to change anything here if you're going straight for TV format. 1080p is usually TV format. But if you do want a lower resolution, for example, you go to 720, which is usually standard for the likes of YouTube. Okay, so that's what I'm just going to change it to, 720, and as you can see, it just changed the resolution to match. Frame rate, usually 30 is where I would tend to go for. You can go higher, up to 60 if you want, but that'll take longer to buffer and to export and make it also into a larger file. So I'm going to click 30 here anyway and click OK. Now, so I have my footage here. You have this orange line here, and that's just telling me it's buffering. Over here, you have a different couple of toggles. Just for this video, I'm just going to turn off the sound on the clip, which is this one here, the audio skimming. I'm just going to deselect that, and that's that turned off. So just when I move my cursor over it, the audio is now turned off, but we still have our footage playing. Now, next thing I'm going to drag in is a second clip. Okay, so I'm going to drag in this clip here. And as you can see here now, this is buffering too. And you can drag in as many clips as you want, or whatever way you want to do it. Drag them in one at a time, or only part of a clip. If you want to drag in part of a clip, you highlight the clip, and you can drag your arrows across like so, and just drag that clip then down. Now if you change your mind and you want to expand on that later, you can drag it back out. Okay? Now, so we're going to turn off Snap to Grid here for a moment, which is this one over here. And that gives us a little bit more freedom of moving stuff around. Now at the moment there's nothing else to move around to because I only have these three here. I don't have any filler as such. So I'm just going to make a quick cut here. And to do that, I'm going to go up here to my arrow up here, and I'm going to go to my drop down arrow, and I'm going to go down to blade. You can just press B on your keyboard and that'll bring up the blade as well. And that's your shortcut, and you can just make an incision here, an incision here. Now obviously if you're going to look for a certain point to cut, you could be a lot more fine-tuned with that, and you can zoom right in. Again, you can go to your drop-down arrow here and click your zoom, which is your Z, or there is buttons down the bottom of the screen which are just slightly outside of my screencast, and you can drag to make them wider or larger or smaller, or whichever way you want to go. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my pointer, which is this one here. This is now letting me drag my clips, and as you can see, they're just changing them around slightly, and just gives that a little bit more freedom to manipulate and change around. So what you don't want to happen though is if you have two videos side by side, you might want the audio from one but not the video. So in this case then, what you want to do is just move that back. Command Z undoes it, because you're only going to see the top line of video and not the bottom line. Okay, so that was a mistake on my part. Now you're going to just move these along backwards, and just going to turn back on snap to grid. And you just drag this across, and suddenly it's going to make it a lot smaller, for example. And you're going to say, just move that to the end, just for the argument's sake. Now, just going to minus this back out. Now, so we have a very basic sequence here. For example, I'm going to lose this clip altogether just for this video. Now, so what we next need is a title card. So a title card tends to go at the start of the video or at the end as well. So I've just gone over here to the big giant T, and I'm scrolling down now to find my basic title. So the basic title is, as it says on the tin, a basic title. So again, you just drag and drop, and then just make this shorter. What you don't want is your title card to be too long, because it's going to play over the entirety of the clip. You're going to go back up to your side frame up here, and you're going to change the text to whatever you need to change to, your name, who's presenting, the name of the piece, whichever you want to do. And for the purpose of this video, I'm going to call it Firework, if I can spell it right. Fireworks. Now, so that'll pop up now when I look back over here with my pointer. So you can then drag this around the screen if you wish, once you have the card selected like I have now. You can drag it around. You've got these guidelines that'll kind of tell you roughly where it's positioned. It's now kind of certainly center frame, but I'm going to put it down bottom right about there, we'll say. So you can turn this on as well, which is your grid, and that'll give you an idea of how far in or out you are as well, okay? Turn that off now. Just leave that there, and you can make your sizes larger, smaller. You can change the font. There is a website which I will link to in Moodle, and that'll give you more options of different fonts you can use, okay? So you can see here, this is still buffering. This is going to tell you how long it's going to take to buffer. You've got this little orange line still saying I'm buffering here. So you have your video imported, you have your title card. What you need next is a music bed. So to do that, you're going to go over to your little music symbol over here. And like that, you can import through your iTunes library, or if you want, you go into File and Import and use your drop down arrows like before. But I already have stuff loaded into my iTunes library, so I'm just going to go straight to Bensounds, which is the royalty-free website for different music. Again, I'll link to that in Moodle. Bensound, there we go. So we want something kind of that'll match. You can just click on a clip and that'll play it. I've got your button down here. Or then you've got your famous YouTube ukulele. So for this now, I'm just going to pick something kind of epic. We'll go with epic, shall we? I'm just going to drag straight into it, and there's my music there. So again, that is going to take a while to buffer just, because you're after importing your music in. Okay. And again, like that now, I'm just going to turn off the music, so I'm just going to drag this down slightly. So you just want to keep in mind, with anything that you're bringing in, you're going to have your levels. So keep your levels low. You don't want to be blowing out your audience members' ears. So you've got your gauge up here, which will give you an indication of how loud everything is. So when you play everything back together, so you can see it's still kind of quite loud. So I'm going to bring that down a little bit more. And you can change that around. So just to go into something now with music, you can fine tune your music. So if you right click on your audio piece, you can show audio here, expand audio components, okay? So that'll bring it down here, and you can actually see exactly how loud everything is. You can see your waveforms here. So if you press Alt along your line, that'll give you the option of changing, going in there and animating your audio, and that'll make it easier for you to change levels at a certain particular point. Rule of 3, that we have a gradual kind of decline and incline of your audio. Okay. After that, then what you want is your transitions. So go over here to your big giant T, and the one I tend to use most is the cross dissolve. Sorry, not your big giant T, your big square box. Cross dissolve, which is the first one that you're going to see here. I'm just going to drag it over, and you just put it here, and that'll give you a quick fade between scenes like so. So it doesn't make much of a difference there because it's actually the same clip. So we're just going to grab another clip here and delete this one. Delete that. And we're just going to randomly go through here and pick this one here, just so you get a better sense of the transition. I'm just going to make this a bit smaller. Now, obviously, you're going to need smoother transitions than that, but that's just to give you an idea of it, okay? And that is a very quick, basic rundown of how to use Final Cut Pro.